Hello, welcome to the Christmas Eve stream. How are you all doing? Hopefully I'm coming through here. I better be coming through. What's going on? Yep, there it goes. I am live. Am I live? I think I'm live. Hey, how you doing, everybody? Merry Christmas and all that stuff. So, start the topic off today. Last weekend was hell. I didn't stream at all last weekend. And then today I shot a Christmas party, family Christmas party for a friend who is a client that I do a lot of work with through Student of the Month program. So, and it's always a little weird to shoot a family Christmas event. They're pretty well off, and they don't give me money. They give me exchange Sizzler bucks. So they own a bunch of Sizzlers. So they give me Sizzler buckaroos, and I go around and I spend them throughout the year, and pretty much keep me in as much Sizzler as I could possibly want throughout the year. So I shot the Christmas, and I've got to know the family, so it's not like it's totally weird, like a weird stranger showing up at your family Christmas party taking photos. She does games and stuff like that. She has a pretty good family. But what struck me out of the ordinary at the very end was she gave out a present to all her family, and it was a photo album of all the photos they took during that year. And it was a lot of the photos I had shot. And why does that matter? Why was that striking to me? Well, because it feels like I've been doing a lot lately where I just am hired to shoot some video, and it goes into a file and it's just like stored away forever. It's like you put a lot of effort into figuring out how to shoot photos, and it just goes into a deck never to be seen again. And the fact that she had gone through all the photos and taken them out and printed them all up really moved me in a way. It just made me think a little bit about why I do what I am doing. I'm sorry, I'm seeing what's going on. Say hi in the chat. This is a chill stream, so we will converse online. I guess I should tell you a little bit about like why this first few couple weeks of December were incredibly stressful. So I do a lot of work for like city and educational schools and stuff like that. And basically everyone really wants to take the last 2 weeks of December off. So every event, all the stuff gets crammed into the first 2 weeks. So the first 2 weeks I was going nuts. In fact, the last week I had an event like every single day, and I had to basically edit and turn everything around. And I was here at the office till 2 a.m. Now on the Friday, I had a press conference in the morning, and it was one of the things they wanted me to stream it. However, and I don't want to go into the details too much of it, because if I do, I will again suffer immensely for thinking about it a lot. I get there 2 hours early to set up a stream. If anybody's set up a stream before, you know about how to do live event streaming video. You get there early to test to make sure things are working properly. Because when the stream starts, you want to make sure everything's just honking dory, ready to go. Well, I get there 2 hours early to set up. Nobody's there. Nobody gets there till basically an hour before the event. And they have to set the entire stage. They have to set a stage up. They have to set all the crap. They have to move cargo freight containers for some visuals effects. And then my equipment was being a little annoying with me. So, oh my goodness, that was such a trying event. Howdy, guys. No one's saying hi in the chat. You guys are all shy and quiet. That's okay. I'll tell you the story. So Friday, attempting that stream made me, essentially gave me panic attacks. Like I was seriously just overwhelmed. Thank you, Israel. Israel Condor says, Merry Christmas, John. Thank you very much. So yeah, that Friday was like the worst experience I've ever had doing video streaming, because it was all crunching down to like 1 hour of prep time. Not even 1 hour of prep time. Essentially 30 minutes of prep time to set up a stream with multiple cameras. Of course, got down to one camera. Then when it started, we had audio issues because the interference between the wireless systems, and we got it fixed. But you know, client was apparently the manager was not pretty upset with me or whatever, upset with how the thing was going. But you know what? I wasn't the one that planned it, and that's what it is. So I don't want to go through that experience again. I don't want to relive that too much because they had me write a pretty long letter explaining what happened. Not like, certain people understood what I was under, and they were on my side, and they wanted me to kind of point out that you can't put together an event in an hour, expect things to go right if you only give people an hour to set up. Not so smart. And then you do it basically the last week before everyone really wants to go on Christmas vacation. Yeah, that's not going to happen. So anyhow, that took off at least 5 years of my life, right there and then. That moment, that 1 hour, and it killed me. And then I had, on top of that, 2 other events I had to do the rest of the weekend. And I shot like a Christmas concert for a choir, and I shot another concert as a piano recital for another person I do a lot of work with. The thing is, though, I do a lot of event stuff. I do a lot of capture the event, and there's one set of events I do called Student of the Month, which I'm happily do. I get paid a little bit. I don't get paid a lot for it, but it's bread and butter kind of money. And I can keep track of how many views it gets because I post it onto my own YouTube channel, not Filmmaker IQ, but another channel called Student of the Month. And you don't need to look for it because I hide them all, because technically I think I learned this from a PIO several years ago. Because they're minors, you want to keep them unlisted and not, that way they're not publicly shown, but at least the people that have the link and they can share it with amongst themselves. But it makes it harder to find stuff, and that's not the point. So anyhow, I can see how many views those get, and I send them out to the educators and all that stuff. And there are a couple programs I do where I get back, and it's like 2 views, 3 views, and you wonder, like, why are you doing this if there's no one watching them? Obviously I'm getting paid, and that's why I'm doing it, but you feel like it's not appreciated at all. That's the thing. Like, there's part of me wants the appreciation. I want to be, get that appreciation, but, I get paid. That's my appreciation is in the form of a check. So, anyhow, so what I'm coming back to is taking all these photos for this lady and her family, and seeing the lovely family, and she's pretty well off because she owns their series of numerous Sizzlers. She definitely well-made, self-made wealth there. They work really hard, and and they've got a beautiful family, and obviously I'm somewhat envious this time of year, but to see them actually use the work means more to me than just the words. I appreciate that. It's the fact that people are actually using it and enjoying it and being able to enjoy the work rather than, and I don't, look, I think about that movie Wag the Dog a lot, right? Remember, spoiler if you haven't seen it. Wag the Dog is basically Dustin Hoffman creates this fake war, which gets this president elected. And at the very end of the movie, he basically is really pissed off that he can't tell anybody about it. He wants to tell people what they did. Oh, we did was so great. And it ends up being killed by the CIA, basically, for wanting to tell everybody what happened. Because he really just wants the acknowledgement, the what's it called? The appreciation, I guess. He wants to put his name on it, but he wants a credit, basically, for what he wants. I don't know if I necessarily want credit. It's more that I want to see things be appreciated. Maybe I'm just eccentric in that this is what I literally think about, like 12, 15 hours a day is imagery and content, for the lack of a better term, for what that means. Like content as in material, as in work, as in watching a Student of the Month program or sharing a Student of the Month program with, that's why I pushed hard to get all the programs I shot out early, because I knew that Christmas was coming up, that maybe family would be coming to town. Grandpa and grandma want to see their Student of the Month get their award and be able to watch it. And so I pushed really hard, but I don't know if anybody watches those. I know by the numbers that not that many people watch those. I'm not expecting, if I get 200 views, that's a success. That's huge because it's only like 12 students, 200 views. That's more than I should expect. I should expect at least, 50 to 25, 75 views because that's who's involved with it. But some of them, yeah, I mean, they've gotten 10 views, 4 views. And when it's 4 views, it's half of those views are mine just to make sure I literally see it. But anyhow, seeing that, not to go back in the point, but after Friday, when I was literally having like panic attacks, like the feeling of a dump truck sitting on your chest kind of a thing, having people kind of telling me, hey, your sound's not working. It's like, yeah, I'm working on it. And then having half an hour to set up essentially, then my equipment wasn't working perfectly well. It's working now. I'm using it right now to stream. And just the feeling of just not feeling appreciated at all for what I do, for what I put out in the world, at least in the business sphere is what I'm trying to do. Kind of sucks. But to see her use that photo in the photo books, and they don't even need to know who shot those photos because it doesn't matter, but that the work gets appreciated, that feels way more appreciated than just saying thank you. Like seeing you use that work. I've had some people like talk to me. My notifications, the bell icon does nothing. The bell icon does. I know, because my channel is like, I don't know. YouTube doesn't consider my channel relevant. I think that's just the truth of the matter. I think YouTube just thinks I don't exist. Whatever. I can have 400,000 subscribers and whatever. It doesn't matter because YouTube doesn't care. YouTube doesn't give a shit about me. Anyhow, not to be I'm not trying to be a downer, but I am kind of in always a downer state of mood. But anyhow, feeling appreciated, that felt like appreciated. So anyhow, I was talking about, I've had conversations with certain people that kind of become sort of friends, and they kind of lend me their shoulder. I lend my shoulder for them to kind of be a soundboard. I'm mixing a bunch of metaphors together. And I had to tell one guy this, and I had to ask him, why do you want to be a filmmaker? And I'm not trying to, don't let me come across as if I'm trying to, what do you call it? Preach here. I'm not necessarily preaching, but why do you want to become a filmmaker? And I feel like there are people that want to become a filmmaker because they want to be known as a filmmaker. And I think maybe in certain respects, I've had that in my past as well. Like, do you want to be known as a filmmaker? Do you want to be known as Wes Anderson and Christopher Nolan? Do you want to be known? And I feel like a lot of people want that. I probably do at one point too. I want to be known as somebody who does this, right? And I wonder if that's also the healthiest thing to do. I mean, obviously there's ego, and you've got to have ego if you want to do this stuff. There's no, if you have no ego whatsoever, then you do whatever you want. Then, or if you have no ego whatsoever, you may not want to even be in this business. Why would you want to make a movie if you don't have an ego? If you don't have the ego to say, I want to make a movie, I want to tell my story of the world, then, or whatever my story is, then there's got to be there's always some ego involved. Just don't pretend there isn't, but what's the point? What's the point of the ego? Is it to glorify you, or to glorify something else, to tell a story, move people? Like, I wonder what musicians think of that are popular. To know a song that they wrote is like the song that somebody plays during their wedding vows or something like that. A song that when couples meet, that's the first song they ever played, the first song, their first dance or whatever. I wonder what they must take from that, because it's not about glorifying them. The song is not, you'll never, like Etta James's At Last, right? It's a popular song. It's one that everyone uses for weddings and stuff like that. But I wonder whoever wrote At Last thinks like, I don't even know who wrote the song At Last. I know Etta James sings it, but there's lots of different people that wrote it. Like, do they even matter? And they're probably dead, but does it matter who wrote it, or whether it's a piece of art that basically people fall in love with, or fall in love listening to, fall in love with each other, and the song has meaning beyond what the song was originally intended for. It has other work. And I wonder, if you're a filmmaker, what if your film is the first date that ends up being a long relationship or something like that? Like, do you matter as an artist outside? Does it even matter who you are? That your work was used in a way that inspires or facilitates. Maybe they both saw your movie and they both hated it. That's the other story. Maybe the first date was they went to see your movie and it's a piece of shit and no one gives it's awful, and they bonded over how much they hated your movie. But in that sense, of course, that's also a story worth listening to or thinking about. Anyhow, so that's my pontification about appreciation, I guess. To be fair, I'm a little bit down because it's the holidays and I'm by myself, but that's okay. I'm here with you. So I wanted to answer one question that wanted to get me. Oh, you saw my tikka masala. Yeah, that was so good. I have 4 more servings of it. I'm going to freaking love it from here. I want to have some later tonight. Here we go. Stephen Peppers asked, well, I think the question has to be asked, what is your favorite Christmas movie, top 3 if you prefer? My favorite Christmas movies are going to be Miracle on 34th Street, Bad Santa, and if I wanted to be a jerk, I would say Night of the Hunter. but Night of the Hunter is, that's a Christmas movie. People don't, because it has the very end, it takes place in Christmas, right? But definitely, Miracle on 34th Street has always been one of my favorite movies. And we're talking about the original one with Natalie Wood and Ed Gwynn, I believe is his name, or something like that. And it's got Lauren what's her name? Lauren. She's the Irish actress, and then the guy that plays the other lawyer dude. And I've always liked that movie. I've always enjoyed the kind of the political intrigue of that movie, because it's not a basic. I've never considered it a basic kind of a Christmas story, but it's more about some. It's a fanciful kind of a movie. I mean, it's not political, but it's sort of not a thriller. I wouldn't call it a thriller, but I really like that movie, Bad Santa, because I love Bad Santa. I think Bad Santa is one of the best movies ever made. If I were to pick a number 3, I don't know. I don't have a number 3 off the top of my head, but I would probably throw out Elf, because I think Elf is cute, and I like Zooey Deschanel a lot in this. A lot. I love the Zooey Deschanel. Yeah, the media industry both says the media is a thankless beast. Don't let it get you down. I think Olive has had those moments. Yeah, it wasn't so much getting down. That Friday was such a pressure cooker. Keep in mind too, I had been working every single day up to that day, and oftentimes in the office till about 2 a.m. And just trying to get things ready and prep for the next day, and it was just turn. And the fact that Friday was just like such a shit show that I had it. I'm like, if the client wants to fire me, I'm perfectly happy to walk away, because it would be a good chunk of my income. But whatever, it doesn't matter. If they want to be jerks about it, I would. They're not jerks about it. They the people that I work with want to increase my budget with them. We'll see if they have to fight with the head manager. But the head manager doesn't understand what I had to do for that, and then my attempts to try to salvage something out of that event. I mean, after the first few minutes, when I fixed the audio situation, it was fine. It was an okay stream. It didn't have all the niceties I'd like to have. I would have liked to have lower thirds. I would have liked to have multiple cameras, but none of that got figured out because we had no time. But we got what we got, and it is what it is. And you know what? That's what you get for running a press conference on a Friday 2 weeks before Christmas. So you don't, nobody would have showed up because it's Friday. It's 10 a.m. No one wants to show up to your damn press conference 2 weeks before Christmas. Like, I'm not getting your Christmas stuff out. Anyhow. Have you clicked the bell icon, hit all? If you click all, regulars won't inform you of all the stream. Oh, if you click regular, it won't. There you go. That's how you get to know that I'm actually streaming. It's funny you say that, John. When I used to get applications for working in film camera rental, the amount of people that put director is astounding. Oh yeah. I don't know what you're referring to. 6 minutes ago, I forgot. I'm just going back and reading all your comments. Anyhow, the direct discussion makes me think of the scene with Fablemans when Spielberg meets John Ford, and Ford says, "You want to be a filmmaker? Why? The business, it will tear you apart." That's a good point. That's a good point. I should probably watch Fablemans. I haven't seen that movie. What movies have I watched? So I showed my friend Asteroid City. I watched the Dungeons and Dragons movie because so last week I took some friends up to Idlewild and we had like a game night, board game. I call it the board game summit. Basically, we just break out the board games and we just hang out in Idlewild. If you don't know California, Idlewild to me is sort of the cheaper version of Big Bear. Big Bear and Snow Summit and Lake Arrowhead are the really pristine parts of California, very alpine-y, very skiing and all that stuff. But it's expensive. It's like Aspen, Colorado, right? It's just I'm going to my Quentin Tarantino impression for some reason. But Idlewild is another mountain that's kind of across the valley. And it's alpine, but it's more of a residential community. So Airbnbs are very more affordable there. And so since we want to do board games, it's really want to stay inside, and it's totally cool. So we got this really beautiful tree called the Treetop Terrace, and it's like 2 levels, and the first level was just this gorgeous view of the valley, and the bottom level had like a pool table and some foosball, and you could turn the pool table into ping pong, but we never did ping pong. But anyhow, we went there and just basically been drinking my brews and doing things that are illegal here in California, if you know what I'm saying. And I kind of let my mind just let go of that week. So I was gone. I'm like, I don't give a crap. I was supposed to have a meeting actually with the college that week, but they canceled it because they realized, hey, it's almost Christmas, and why do we want to meet this week before Christmas? It makes no sense. It's funny. The college I work for sent me an email in my business asking me if I could help them do some videos for their State of the College District event, and I had to tell them, hey, you do know I work for the college. I mean, as a associate professor. Doesn't mean I can't do work as a professional, but I do kind of work for you guys. So, hey, you guys like me. You guys think I'm competent, right? Anyhow. Johnny Colton says, I just picked this up here. Thought of retirement of quitting scares the shit out of me. I'm okay with regret, but the what ifs is the kind of keeps me up at night. I just want to do what I love, and that's filmmaking. I don't think I will retire ever. I just think I will morph into certain other positions. I don't necessarily, there might be a point where I will stop doing certain kinds of work, but I don't think I'll ever retire. All right, jumping ahead. Let's go to some more modern comments. Do you get snow in California? California has all kinds of climates. I mean, we get beach. We get, it's just funny. I showed my friends some of Barbie. My friends thought I was like showing them some sort of like nasty video, just showing them Barbie. I was like, come on, guy, I'll show you the best scene in Barbie, and that was the dance scene. So we got beach. What about beach, man? Beach. So we got beaches, and in about 2 hours you can go from beach. Well, let's say 3 hours you can drive from the beach in Southern California, Mediterranean weather, up to the mountains where you can get alpine experience. That's what I like about Idlewild, because Idlewild has this alpine feel to it. It's like some of the houses are like the little like back here actually. Some of the houses are kind of similar to that, very alpine, very German, almost A-frames and all kinds of snow. Although right now there is no snow in California at all, or at least where I'm at. Nothing yet. It's still not cold enough for snow. All right, let's go. Fablemans might be my favorite Spielberg film. It felt painfully relatable in a way. That's why I'm afraid of the Fablemans. That's why I'm kind of afraid of it, because I feel like it's going to be painful. But I should probably watch it. I don't even know where it's on. I've been kind of trying to find movies to watch, and it's been kind of sparse. Though we were watching a little bit of Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. There's a new series on Netflix, and I got into it for a little bit. Then we had to play a game, so I turned it off because I wanted to pay attention and watch Scott Pilgrim. But it looked pretty impressed. I was pretty impressed with it so far. I think the song "The Fools Who Dream" perfectly describes what it is to be someone who wants to be a filmmaker and the artist, even though it's the all the challenges she said she'd do it again. That's from the movie from La La Land. Okay, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of La La Land, but I get the sentiment. Yeah, totally. Anyhow, Hayao Miyazaki has called retirement many times, but he always returns to making another movie. He can't actually stop. Someone said Miyazaki is going to die during the making of his magnum opus. I think that's really, there's a difference between like a small filmmaker and someone that makes a big giant movie. And I think in that sense, it might be easier to retire from like the Hollywood system, and not have to deal with the corporate structure of like corporate kind of filmmaking. I get that. I'm not in that realm. I'm in the let's put on a show, boys and girls, go in the backyard and make a movie. And that's what I would do. I do. Oh, there we go. My favorite three says Bullet Silence is Lethal Weapon. Lethal Weapon's a Christmas movie, or is it even Die Hard? Is Lethal Weapon a Christmas movie? Jingle all the way, and Muppets Christmas Carol. Muppets Christmas Carol is a good one. I think Muppets Christmas Carol actually might be my favorite adaptation of Christmas Carol, because the Muppets Christmas Carol isn't just a Muppet movie. It's one of the best Christmas Carol movies. Like it actually gets the pathos of Christmas Carol. Like I remember watching it as a kid. I watched a lot as a kid, right? But Michael Caine takes the part seriously. Like they're not. Oh, look at Kermit. He's he's not little. What's the character? He's not Bob Cratchit. He's not just Bob Cratchit. He takes him as a serious. Like he takes the whole thing seriously. They're not. They're Muppets, yeah, but they're not treated like Muppets. They're treated like actual people. And then when Tiny Tim gets, almost he dies, basically, like Michael Caine's like seriously broken down. So yeah, Muppets Christmas Carol is probably the best Christmas Carol movie. I mean, I haven't watched them all. I haven't sampled them all. I just think it's one of the best Christmas Carol movies out there. It just gets across the story very well. Anyhow, that's just me. What else did I watch? We watched Dungeons and Dragons. We watched Dungeons and Dragons with Chris Pine, and I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was a lot better than it deserved to be, or it's a lot better than you think it would be, right? You think, well, how many times do you do a Dungeons and Dragons movie? I mean, Dungeons and Dragons is an open-ended story, so it's like it feels like with Dungeons and Dragons, it's very hard. You can just put whatever story you want in there, and just as long as you have elements of the game, which I'm not familiar with. But as long as you have elements in the game, you can just tell whatever story you want to tell in a Dungeons and Dragons movie. And I thought it did just that. It told Dungeons and Dragons story, and it was very entertaining, and it worked. Yeah, it was fun. Anyhow, let's see. I've heard the rumors that Warner and Paramount mergers are just misdirect, and Zaslav will actually break down Warner Discovery with Comcast buying the film studio and the whole library. HBO would be sold to another group, Discovery would go to another group, Warner TV another group, and so on. Well, maybe. It might be fun to see these things broken up down a little bit. Although it's going to be confusing. Like, where do I spend my money again on these subscription services? Like, what do I buy? I got to buy HBO Max, and that comes with what? Like, which you want Discovery Plus? Is that Disney or is that Paramount? I don't know. It's all confusing. Who knows? It should make more corporate videos, like the more of the studios videos, and really dig into the whole mess of trading between different media conglomerates, because it's just, I don't know, it's just confusing. All right, let's go back in here. Oh, Gremlins is another someone's bringing up. As a kid, I remember when I first moved to the States, I was like 7 years old or so. And my parents went to see Gremlins. I was so into Gremlins. I thought Gremlins was fun and all that when I watched the movie. But that very night, I had nightmares and I could not sleep. So in my childhood, I've had this experience over and over again. Is that I'm super into something, and then it gives me nightmares, and then I just am frightened of it. And that includes UFOs. Like UFOs, when I was a kid, I thought, man, UFOs are cool, aliens are cool. And then I went to bed, and I had this dream that I was getting abducted. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, John, dream, right? So I was abducted. I don't know. I don't think I was up there. And I remember feeling like, oh, I got a little chip in my earlobe here. Like, oh my God. And then from that on point on, I was terrified of UFOs. Like for a long time. Even now I'm a little bit uneasy with the UFO thing. I don't seek them out because UFOs still kind of scare me a little bit. But I remember watching, my first UFO sighting was sitting in a car. And you know, when you sit in a car, I don't know about you guys, but your windshield's got like little water spots and stuff like that. And sometimes I like to sit here with a little water spot in front of the windshield and move my head and sort of have the water spot travel like a side-scrolling video game, because I played a lot of side-scrolling video games back in my day. That was the only kind of video game you had, was a side-scroller. So I would watch a little water spot like jump around, and then I remember seeing this one water spot, like, oh, that's pretty cool. There's a water spot right there. And I turned my head and looked back, and the water spot was gone. Ooh, ah. So that's my experience. That's my first UFO sighting. That's my one and only UFO sighting. I've never seen a UFO since then. But yeah, those UFOs scare me. Oh, Lethal Weapon's opening credit has Jingle Bell Rockin' as a theme. I don't think I've ever seen Lethal Weapon. I'll be honest. Oh, they made me watch Goonies. So I watched Goonies for the first time because my whole joke was like, one day we're going to sit you down, tie you up, and want you to watch Goonies. And I liked it. I'm not, Goonies is one of those movies that you have to watch as a kid to really embrace. I felt Goonies was a little bit too much energy. Like the energy was amped a little too high, but maybe I was high or drunk. I don't know. Probably both. But it just felt Goonies was like a little too amped up. It's like they were constantly amped up. And I don't know about you guys, but there's a sort of a Spielberg kid, right? Do you ever get the sense that there are, like in the 80s movies, there are kids that are Spielberg kids. And to me, I can almost smell the fabric softener that they use to wash the clothes of the Spielberg kids. Like that's like Spielberg kid. And Goonies is definitely Spielberg kids. But overall, I would say is a positive view of the Goonies. I don't have any great love for the Goonies. However, it is very just felt like way too ramped up. I didn't take it. Account for Comments wants to call him a bitch again. My family never celebrate Christmas since everything went streaming. I don't see many Christmas movies. All recommendations are Die Hard, Home Alone, and any new Christmas classic. Well, to be fair, I'm not. My dad celebrated Christmas a little bit. Mine from Asia, from Taiwan, and we don't have that much of a Christmas tradition. I wish I did. And then when my dad passed when I was really young, like 19 years old, and my mom didn't really get Christmas, so I don't really have much of a Christmas tradition either. Other than stuff I tried to do as a kid, it would bother me more, right? It bothered me more. I don't know. Maybe I'm old and my heart is numb, and I just don't. I'll be happy. My Christmas traditions last year was to watch basically 6 movies in a row. Like I watched 6 movies on Christmas Day, just one after the other. Maybe this year I might do something the same, although my friend's probably going to invite me over. But new Christmas movies, let's see. The newest one is Bad Santa, but that's like 10 years old. Elf, 2003-ish. So it takes a while for a Christmas movie to cement itself into the imagination of Christmas. Does anyone consider Four Christmases a Christmas classic? Because the one with Reese Witherspoon, I think, and what's his face? I forget. The guy, the Swingers guy. Anyhow, I remember that Four Christmases movie actually being in a screenwriting book, like when it was still a script. They talked about how like 4-quadrant this thing, and Four Christmases is like a 4-quadrant movie. I'm trying to think of any other more modern day Christmas classics that are made recently. It takes a while for Christmas movies to kind of like gel, right? I mean, very rarely do Christmas movies become classics instantly. It takes a while because you have to watch, because you can only watch them every year, right? You can only watch them once a year. So it takes a few years for it to kind of pull together. I think another Christmas movie that would be, um, they don't really make a whole lot. I think we're also probably a little too jaded. You know what's interesting about this year too, because of the actors strike and the writers strike, or the actors strike. Yeah, that's what I meant. Actors and writers. I don't even know what's opening on Christmas Day this year. Like usually Christmas Day is a huge movie thing, right? But now this year just seems like everything's just up in the air. Go see Godzilla minus one. As far as I'm concerned, I told my friends like I want Godzilla minus one. Let's go see that on Christmas Day if it's still out. I'll see that again. What's out there? Wonka. Wonka, I've heard good things about, so people are kind of happy about that. I want to see Poor Things, but that's not a Christmas movie. Is it Poor Things by Lanthimos? Poor Things. There it is. By Lanthimos. What's his name? Oh, it's playing. Oh, Cal Oaks. I gotta go there. Okay. Yorgos Lanthimos. I want to see that, but that's not a Christmas movie. I forget what else is playing, but that's just Wonka and Godzilla, I guess. That's it. Pick your poison. So a bit of news too. I signed up because I wanted to come back and do a little more filmmaking. So I found out that the San Diego, which is close enough to me to really convenient for me, is going to do a 48-hour film project now. They usually do it in the summertime, but they're doing one experimental one in January. And I agreed to it, and I signed up for it, and it's called the AI 48-hour project. The whole point is to utilize AI to create at least 50% of the film. Now, what does the 50% mean? They're kind of loose and like, you know what, you guys figure it out. We just want you to use AI. It's experimental. Just try something with AI. So we'll be doing that in mid-January. We're doing some more AI experimental stuff. So that'll be interesting. All right. In the UK, for about 10 years, every Christmas channel would show the Carry On series of films. So I didn't even know what Carry On is. Carry On My Wayward. Nope, I just got demonetized. What's what Carry On? Let's Carry On Luggage. That's not helpful, Google. It does not help at all. So Carry On Film. Let's put that. I got a new keyboard too. It should work better. Carry On. Oh, Carry On Doctor. Carry On Behind. Yeah. Okay, Carry On Around the Bend. Carry On Henry. That just looks familiar. That sounds familiar to me. Carry On Screaming. Oh my goodness. Carry On franchise. The British comedy franchise comprising of 31 films, 4 Christmas specials, a television series, and stage shows produced between 1958 and 1992. Produced by Peter Rogers, the Carry On films were directed by Gerald Thomas and starred regular ensemble, including Sid James, Kenneth Williams, Charles Hawtrey, Joan Sims, Kenneth Connors, Peter Butterworth, Haiti Jack, Terry Scott, Bernard Bresslaw, Barbara Windsor, Jack Douglas, and Jim Dale. All names as an American Yankee I have not heard of. Oh, there you go. So, Rogers and Thomas are responsible for all 31 films. 31 films, dang. All right. Hey there, says Pedro. There is this film I believe is new, 8-Bit Christmas. 8-Bit Christmas. I haven't heard of that one. Although we did watch Yule Log. Do you remember last year Yule Log from Adult Swim's Yule Log? 8-Bit Christmas. That's the one with Stephen Zahn, Neil Patrick Harris. 8-Bit Christmas. That's from 2021. 10-year-old sets out on a quest to get Christmas gift of his generation and the latest and greatest video game system. Cool. Well, that's going to be a thing. I am seeing AI courses popping up everywhere saying AI won't replace you, but people who know how to use it to full potential help the creativity may be a more efficient will. Not untrue. Like, that's the thing. Like, you need to actually practice AI. We've had this conversation a lot. And I got to go to my first college professors little get together, and I learned that people. All right, here's what I want to say it. I'll say it. It was virtual slash in person. So there was like 5 of us in person, and it was also a virtual space because people were on Zoom. So we all sat at a table and we watched a Zoom present people, and we talked about AI. We talked about stuff like that. And Zoom is not good for people who don't know how to regulate how long they are talking, says the person who's doing a stream that's going to talk for about 2.5 hours straight or 2 hours straight. That's usually what I do streams are do. But on a Zoom call, people don't have this immediate like response like, hey, sir, you've talked a little too long. This meeting is only scheduled for an hour and you've eaten up about 15 minutes. So maybe just not talk so much. No, that doesn't come across in Zoom. And Zoom is basically, I've got a captive audience. I'm talking to space and I'm just going to talk. But anyhow, no one in the arts field, in the teachings field, at least the college professors, we in the arts stuff, we're not threatened. We're not scared of AI. I know, and I get frustrated, honestly, when people tell me, just wait, in 1 year I'll show you'll be out of a job. I'm like, all right. Like it's the same kind of attitude I've heard from people saying, you just wait, John, 24 frames a second is going to be done. Next year Netflix is going to switch all to 60 frames and you'll be sorry you were wrong about that. I'm like, my experience every time has always been, wow, that's cool, but it's not going to replace anything. Never does. Never, ever, ever does. So anyhow, that's the thing with AI. So the other irony too. So when I do talk about AI in my class, I bring it up as a object, something you can use to finish your final project. And honestly, the students that I teach are very apathetic toward AI. They're not very excited about it at all. So I don't know. Maybe it's just the kind of caliber students that I have, or the college environment, the community college environments. Kids just I don't care. Like no one really cares that much. Pedro says, on Christmas movies, I'm a little confused because my mother likes to do her arts and craft with a TV on Lifetime channel, and I guess she's doing this every night since October. Well, Lifetime will do that to people. Matthew says, stop motion animation now uses CGI to help, preserving traditional technique in an art form while adding modern tools that help a lot. Yeah. And then I think there's a guy named Todd Vaziri who's got a humongous IMDb credit list. It's insane. He's like a Jack Ryan. Have you guys ever read a Jack Ryan novel? I forget the name of the author, but the guy like Hunt for Red October, or any of those books. Every time I read those books, I get severely self like down on myself because every character in those Jack Ryan books is like the best of everything. He's just the best, guys. He's like literally the best. He graduated West Point, like top of his class. And then he went on, like, he single-handedly defeated communism. Like, he's literally the best guy. And then he's going to meet with the other guy who's also the best. He single-handedly went to West Point and was top of his class as well. And everyone's just the best at what they do. They're the absolute best. And no one here is just like, he just kind of sailed his way through class. He kind of did a couple things and, spent a year or two like just hanging. No. These guys are like the overachievers, man. Anyhow, that's a Jack Ryan book, right? And where am I going with this? I don't even understand what I'm going with. Oh, Todd Vaziri. So Todd Vaziri is like the best of the best, right? He literally, if you go to his Todd, TODDVZIRI, I think is the name, he spells his name. Like, his credits are like every Star Wars movie, everything Lucasfilm ever made. Like, he's on that list of everything. He's like a humongous VFX guy. And he's kind of a curt guy, but I follow him because he's kind of on a tirade on Twitter, on X, against this whole, like, we didn't have any CGI in this movie. Oh, we shot Napoleon and we did not use any CGI. You see that everything you see in the shot is real. There's no CGI whatsoever. And he's like, bullshit. Like Mad Max Fury Road had no CGI. Bullshit. It did. It has like 2,500 VFX shots. Don't tell me it doesn't have VFX. So anyhow, there's this whole thing. Like, there's this whole anti-movement now rising up. Like, the VFX artists like saying, no, you guys are using VFX. Don't tell me you're not. You know, and I'm even sure Christopher Nolan movies have VFX in them. They're just more invisible. I like going to say, Stranger Sound said, Public Enemy said it best. Don't believe the hype. Yeah, I know. I bristle when people are telling me you're going to lose your job because of a tool that you don't even understand how to use. Like, not me. I understand more than people telling me, oh, you're going to lose your job. Just come back next year. It's become such a pet peeve of mine that to hear like, oh, this tool is so great. Just imagine what it'll be like in 5 years. Like, yeah, it'll be better. Like all tools are. You know, doesn't mean it will solve the problem. I don't know. So I've been trying to use like this Runway ML, this Runway ML AI, which creates video, and it's very disappointing. Like it's like, this is like shit. This looks like shit. Doing images is one thing, and I think when I do my 48-hour AI project, it'll be mostly like Mid-Journey images because I think images it can pull off, but video, no, video like just looks bad. Thank you, Tom Clancy. Yeah, Tom Clancy books make you feel like you've like an underachiever. Tom Clancy, every freaking character is an overachiever on Tom Clancy. It's almost annoying, like how everybody is so good at what they're doing. Anyhow, that's Tom Clancy. If I've never seen a Carry On film, there's lots of jokes in them you could not get away with today, but they're still funny. Recommend out either Carry On Chloe or Screaming Up the Khyber. There you go. There was a show. I love the show That Goes Wrong, right? And it's a BBC show. Well, it's a British theater troupe, but they made this one, which I think was in the vein of a Carry On. I don't know. They did a joke on a 60s sex comedy, kind of British sex comedy, right? They did a play on a 60s. So I think maybe I get the vibe of a Carry On movie. I've heard of it. Maybe I'm confusing with Our Man Flint. I think maybe I am a little bit. Maybe. I like the Polar Express. Its main theme is that children who believe in Santa should continue that belief. It's a feel-good film. I never believed in Santa. I never believed in Santa either. I was just afraid of Santa because I was afraid of strangers. With this new world of social media, the tone just don't feel like it could be a hit. Yeah, with Polar Express and the weird animation too is a little bit bizarre. Plastic was overhyped in the 40s and made some magical material, but that could do anything. Yeah. I guess, yeah, plastic, fantastic. I mean, now we use plastic for everything, though, so it is true. Have I managed to make ChatGPT rewrite the ending of ChatGPT? ChatGPT, I want to play with a newer version. The version I saw. So here's the thing with ChatGPT. I think I've talked about this before, but like, I've had clients admit to me that they use ChatGPT to write some scripts. And they say, well, no, we use it for the first draft, then we go back and we edit it, make sure. And to be honest, it needs to be edited some more because ChatGPT tends to be very, very, very wordy. If you ask ChatGPT to write like a script and I can tell, like when a script is an early ChatGPT version, it's excessively wordy. To the point where it's like, no, like go back and cut out like half of it. Like I remember these scripts, they would come to a natural ending and then they would just keep going because ChatGPT is awful at writing. Honestly, it's literally terrible. Like it's just awful. I've tried having it write like a scene for me, and it's bad. The scene that I had it write for me had no charm, had nothing to it that wouldn't be interesting. Of course, I prompted it, just like I had it write me a first date between these two people, and it was just boring. And what do you expect? I gave it a nothing prompt. It gave me nothing scene in return. So, nah, I'm not. will it help people? Sure. If it can help people, it can help people. That's fine, but can't get away. Can't get away with it. In my field, AI is most likely technology. Most technology is an excuse to lay people jobs off. The fewer people can get hired for a cheaper price. Hard to be scared of AI as always. The humans are the danger. There you go. Yeah, I mean, sure. So I was watching Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I never saw I've never seen both versions to their full. I've seen parts of the Gene Wilder version, but I haven't seen. I watched part of Johnny Depp's version, but the Oompa Loompas freaked me out so much the first time I saw it. I tried it again, and it was less scared of the Oompa Loompas this time around. Maybe I was drinking. I don't know. But so I was watching a little bit, and yeah, there's this whole scene where, and again, John August wrote that. John August writes everything that I guess Tim Burton does. If you don't know John August, he's the script podcast he does with the other guy that wrote Chernobyl. But anyhow, there's a scene in it where Charlie's dad gets fired off, or what happens is all the candy. His dad works for a toothpaste company, and all he does is he screws the little lids on the toothpaste. And the chocolate factory does so much business that everyone's getting like cavities. So toothpaste sales are through the roof, people. And then so they make so much money they can afford to modernize and get a little robot instead to twist the little cap onto the toothpaste. So yeah, AI taking our jobs. Polar Express is a lesson in the uncanny valley. It's my favorite joke from the Chip and Dale movie, where they go to Polar Express and they're dead Polar Express eyes. Have I used ChatGPT to rewrite the ending of She-Hulk? I don't think that's a good use of the time. I think there's there's probably a million more useful things to do in this world than to have ChatGPT write the ending of She-Hulk. I think that should just be dead and buried, and we should just forget all about it. Move on from She-Hulk. Don't bring that up ever again, because my heart will shatter. Stranger Sound says, one of my favorite BBC things is Jean-Paul Sartre's No Exit, starring Harold Pinter, 1964. Dark humor at its most incisive. All right. I should try to check that out. I like to watch the movie. I'll watch a movie tonight. Or I might go out to the movies and see Wonka. Just for the hell of it. What the hell? So I can talk about it. Say I saw it. I used to like Deep L to help me figure out less clumsy sentences, but I always have the final decision. What I prefer, just not blindly accept what the program offers. Don't care about these ideas. So somebody left a comment on my channel that went through one of my live streams and literally broke down point by point. Like, okay, this time period, Mr. talks about so-and-so and so, And I thought, wow, this guy spent entire time sitting there watching my entire video and pointing out like entire stream and breaking it down to points. And I found out at the very end, it said auto summarized by Tammy AI. And I was like, okay, that's kind of useful. Maybe what I could do is have Tammy AI or whatever this thing is go through my streams and pick out chunks, and I can quickly review. Okay, this is a summary of the entire stream. I can go through and cut out a portion, make that a short, and throw it on a short, and that will be entertaining. I don't know, get some more numbers, whatever nonsense. So that's a case of really useful AI. That's doing a lot of very drudgery when it can just have it do that. I like to do that. Have I watched Wish by Disney? No. And the guys at Film Threat are really the reason probably why I will never watch that movie. They scared me off that. Film Threat's doing a pretty cool little interesting, a very interesting expose of Disney. And they for the most part are pretty. Chris Gore tends to be a little more. I wouldn't say call him conservative because he's not really, but he's a little more friendly to the right. Let's put it that way. And he and Alan Ng, we're talking. Alan Ng's much more of a Disney person, and they opened up how they really hated Wish. Alan, who's a big, huge Disney fan, just gave up on Disney. And so by talking about it and talking about how the animation isn't up to snuff, they started getting reached out. A lot of artists that work for Disney started reaching out and talking to them. So they're running a series of articles and some videos too that talk about how like what happened at Disney since basically Lasseter and Me Too movement sort of killed Lasseter's career at Disney, got him removed, and how Disney may be becoming more of a the word is like, I wouldn't say the word is woke, but where the bullies have used certain ideologies to bully and put people in submission. People like John Lasseter, who probably was he was in charge. The last movie he made for Disney was Coco. The last movie he was involved with, it was Coco. And Coco is one of my favorite movies of all time. And you can see the magic of Coco. And they haven't come close to getting the magic since Coco. Not the level. I mean, they maybe made an okay movie, but they've not made a magical movie the way Coco is magical. So I would check out Film Threats, look up Film Threat and Disney, because it's very interesting to see what they're purporting. Now, people might say, well, anonymous sources and these, well, take it for what it is. Take it as hearsay, but is it something that sounds like it's plausible what's happening in that company? I think it's very, I can see it. I don't know. I think they're there. Yeah, JJ says AI is not there yet, but it can be used for inspiration. Yep. Pencils versus Pixels is a good documentary on Disney's animation, by the way. There you go. I'll check that. Well, I can't. I don't have Disney Plus. I got rid of Disney Plus because I can't support what they did after She-Hulk. Just had to walk away. I had to say no more. Not for you. Not for me. Oh, people are saying it feels like an AI film. That's what, or Wish. Yeah. Wish. Supposed to be their crown jewel, 100 years, and I like the AI generated posters of Pixar and Disney. They think they're lightly photoshopped, but they're very funny. Yeah, there's a Pixar version of Sallow. That one looks terrifying. CGI looks like a video game. I don't know. Is there going to be a point where saying CGI looks like a video game, is that too, or are video games getting so good that maybe they start looking like movies again? Count for comment. The Red Disney War, the whole bullying and infighting are pretty much Disney DNA. I guess I should check that out. Is that a book or is that an article? I'm trying to remember. We brought it up before. I can't remember. I got lights in my eyes. That's a book. Disney War. Yeah, well, seems like what happened, like even after they got rid of Lasseter, Chris Gore went on kind of a thing where they got rid of Lasseter and somebody piped up, like a young intern, can we get a woman to run this place? And everyone's kind of clapped. I don't know. That's that old meme. And everyone in the room clapped. It's like, well, how about if a woman is good? Yeah. How about a meritocracy instead? How about somebody the best person to run this thing, who can deliver the best, be it a man or a woman, or neither for that matter. Yeah, 600 pages in one single day. Nice. Nicely done. I watched Silent Night, Deadly Night 5 as reviewed by the recent Red Letter Media Christmas special. 8 out of 10. Fantastic bad movie. Laughed my ass off. I want to see that other one that they did. What's that one they were talking about? The one was like, oh my God, that's so schmegma. What was the name of that movie? I want to see that as a bad movie. Frozen 2, yeah, why do they make Frozen 2 making of documentary is very revealing. Shafrilis production has a great video talking about it. You can feel the animosity of the artist toward the executives at Disney. Wow. Yeah, that's rough. Yeah, meritocracy. So the cool thing about Dungeons and Dragons, okay, now I'm talking about Dungeons and Dragons, the movie, not the game. So I was watching it with my friend and I was saying that Michelle Rodriguez, right? Michelle Rodriguez plays like the tough kind of barbarian warrior girl, and she beats up all these bad guys. And in the situation, like Michelle Rodriguez looks like she could beat up bad guys. Like you buy the fact that she is a big tough lady, and she's gonna beat the shit out of you, right? Like that you get. So it's not like, oh, I'm against like female superheroes. Like, no, when you have Michelle Rodriguez, she looks like she's gonna freaking break someone's arm off. It's just when you get these little waifish actors and then they don't even sell it really, that they can beat up a whole, gang of mercenaries. Anyhow, I was just saying, like, it's not that I don't buy a woman superhero. It's that you gotta have the right person to do this, to do that kind of superhero action. I don't know. I was saying, like, Gal Gadot, I think did a good job as Wonder Woman, because she's strong looking, but she doesn't look like she's a waif and going to be like blown away in a slight breeze. They got rid of Lasseter once before when Lasseter and Jobs got hit. Jobs hated Eisner so much he wouldn't allow any partnership negotiate with Disney if Eisner was there. They talk a little about that in the film threat too. Yeah. I know she bats for the team, but I've always had a thing for Michelle Rodriguez. She bats for the other team? Really? I didn't know that. Well, I like her. Yeah, I've had a thing for her too. But when have I seen her first? I forget. What was the movie I first saw her in? I go back. She's born in 78, so that makes her like 4 years older than me. I've never seen a Fast and Furious movie, so it's got to go further back. I really hate IMDb. I think IMDb is like just as the worst possible design site in the world. Fast and Furious, Blue Crush. Yeah, I don't know what it was. Driver? No, that's a voice video game. She's been in more stuff than this. Come on, guys. Avatar. Huh. Well, maybe she only started her career back in 2000. I thought she was been around longer than that. So I'm trying to think. Blood Rain, Gardens of the Night, Cat's Tail, Avatar Lost, Machete, College Humor Originals. All right, maybe she. Huh, that's weird. I swore I saw her in older stuff than that. Anyhow, Michelle Rodriguez. Always liked her. That's for the other team. I did not know that. Oh, there goes that fantasy. Well, maybe it goes on. Maybe you got now you have a different fantasy to think about. All right, none of that stuff. It's Christmas. I'm going to go home, eat my chicken tiki masala, which is kind of more of a butter chicken because I didn't really use coriander. I couldn't find the coriander. I was going to make tiki masala for my friends in the cabin, but everything got screwed up and it just didn't work out right. Dude, I don't know. What do you want from me? Kick-Ass. I watched Kick-Ass recently. It was awesome. I can see people who were who people were horrified. Yeah. What else did I watch recently that was kind of... It wasn't Kick-Ass. Well, I guess it was Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, which is not Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Yeah, so I do have garlic and coriander naan bread. So I take I did get some of these little tiny like naan breads, the pre-made naan bread, and I just put them in the toaster. I put the butter on them and some garlic. I should go buy some coriander. I don't even know what coriander really is. I don't even know what the flavor is. So yeah, we'll get some coriander. Get some coriander, garlic. Oh, that was so good. Although I don't know. I separated it onto 4 portions and then a little bit extra. But I'm wondering if I'm going to end up eating 2 portions at one time because it's hard to stop eating that. That and spaghetti. We had a lot of spaghetti. Had some spaghetti at the cabin trip and spaghetti and what else we had? Tri-tip, spaghetti, chicken noodle soup, which I made in a crock pot. like fresh homemade chicken noodle, and we had some salmon bake. I've got some salmon in the house too. I should eat that. And then I came back from I'm like, what? My trunk still smells kind of weird. What is it? And I found like 2 pounds of bacon in my trunk. So I gotta make sure I take that back into the house, so I don't. Why not? It's a spicy meatball. Yeah, they were pretty spicy meatballs. Those were spicy. Like we bought the spicy meatball kind. So it was a spicy. Spaghetti for me is sort of hard to say no to. I guess noodles in general. Like I'm a noodle guy. Like today for lunch I had at Panda Express. I had just noodles and the crispy shrimp. And I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna do half and half. I'm not gonna do. Everyone does like half and half noodles, half rice. And I'm like, nope, not today. I'm going full hog. It's Christmas. I'm getting all chow mein. Oh yeah. Cut an onion in half and leave it in the car to absorb the smells. Wouldn't that do the opposite? Wouldn't my car smell like onions? I don't know. For bees, I guess. What's your favorite Dracula film? Mine is a type between Francis Ford Coppola and Herzog Nosferatu 1979. The latter is free on YouTube. Perfect, great gothic film. Oh gosh, I don't even know. I don't think I've ever watched a Dracula film all the way through. I guess I did watch the Francis Ford Coppola one. I don't know. Yeah, Herzog sounds pretty good. I think I might have seen the Herzog. No, I watched the movie of the making. I watched the movie that was sort of the making of the Herzog. No, not Herzog, but the 1939 Nosferatu. Not Herzog. What's his face? It's the other dude. Lang? Is it or Fritz? No. What the heck is the first one that? It wasn't Lang. It wasn't. It was the other guy. It's the guy that became really famous. Anyhow, but yeah, I was watching. I showed. So October 13th happened to fall on Friday, and I had a class on October 13th, Friday the 13th. So I did a lecture on horror films, and I showed the class the very first Dracula movie, first Hollywood Dracula movie, actually called Dracula, right, with Bela Lugosi. And it's amazing how, oh my gosh, there's no music in half of the movie. It's just dry. It's super, super dry. As far as like the film, it's just, it's like, oh, I seem to have cut myself. And they cuts to Dracula. Oh, it's just a cut. And he sucks on his finger, it's bloody, and Dracula's, oh, I can help you with that. So dry. Anyhow. Imagine, Kick-Ass, the cussing of the girl that I can see the social media controversy. Social media types are soft, I say. They're super soft. I don't know. Is social media soft these days? Or maybe what it is, I don't know. So it just feels like, you ever get the sense that a lot of the controversy over whatever movies are coming out is literally just one person on Twitter complaining about something? Like, oh my God, I can't believe it's so racist that they did this in this movie that's been about a story that's been around for 10, 20, 40 years, and it's so racist. And then it's just like one person on Twitter that said that. And then all of a sudden every article writer is like, whoa, some people are very upset with the... It's like, no, it's one person on Twitter, and they don't matter. Hey, John, how you doing? Go to the Christmas party, Jack. I'm going to probably leave pretty soon. Just want to pop and say Merry Christmas. Thank you, and see you next stream. Oh, thank you very much, Jack. Have fun at your Christmas party. You could have music, and it will stand alone by itself, but you can't have a movie without it, says Jerry Reed. There you go. Here we go. This guy. I love this guy. I think it's the same person. Rohit says, sir, if each frame is different from each other, then if we shoot 24 frames an actor will give reaction. If it not came in 24 FPS, but come at 60 FPS, his acting skill has got wasted. There you go. I don't know. Is it you? There's one guy on my channel. It's starting to get annoying, and they keep saying like, "Are you saying that that is video the way we see with our eyes?" And I say, no, video is not the way we see with our eyes. Video is frames shown in rapid succession, right? And then it's always like, and then you'll say like, do you mean by rapid succession? Then what's the difference between 24 and 60? It's like, well, And then I won't answer because, so I don't know if you guys know what YouTube Studio is how I respond to comments. And I only see comments like in the order I get them, but I don't see responses. So I might miss it because it's like buried 10 comments down. Is it, please, sir, please answer, please answer. It's like, enough already. Stop making me answer the same questions over and over again. And so he keeps going on about like, oh, if does motion video capture, does video capture the way the eye sees and versus frames per, it's like, no, it's just frames per second. That's all it is, people. Anyhow, so on Reddit, somebody was saying like how, well, video is different than taking pictures, guys. They're like, no, they're the same thing. It's just, anyhow. But yeah, so if you do shoot 24 frames a sec, if you don't shoot 24 frames, the acting skill has got wasted. Not necessarily. I mean, you can act, it just doesn't come off as well. Some people, sinister ambiguity. That's the state of journalism. It's just some people say. Yeah, some people say that John Hess is really the sexiest man alive, though some people happen to be John Hess. I think Bela Lugosi, 1930s, is the first movie I watched on YouTube. 10 minutes, 12 videos, transported me to a time when most people believe in the spirit and strange supernatural. Ooh, yeah. They think you like to argue. They're trying to court with you. I do like to argue. That's the thing that bothers me. Is like I sometimes feel like I'm just going on there to just find conflict and look for a fight. Like last night. So okay, I'll read you guys. If we're gonna have fun, we're gonna have some Christmas fun. All right, some good old Christmas cheer. Here's the last comment I got on YouTube, which kind of didn't ruin my night, but it's like oh good, now I get to have a little fight here on the day last night when I was like trying to enjoy myself, just taking it easy, eating my chicken tikka masala. The comment was, it's getting ridiculous. So this is on my debunking high frame rate in cinema myths. This is the comment I got. It's getting ridiculous. It's like arguing with a flat earther. The guy has an obsession with 24 FPS. He just pulls out random arguments out of his ass and random comparisons that make no sense. If the arbitrary number would have been decided to be 30 FPS during the start of sound, he would be here the same way obsessed with 30 FPS. 24 FPS is nothing special. You are just used to it, as are a lot of people. It doesn't help that there are endless video influencers to keep praising 24 FPS because it's cinematic, whatever that is. Not saying that 24 FPS is bad, but as a filmmaker, you should have the reason to choose 24 FPS, not just because it's cinematic or everyone else does it. Most of your arguments are carefully selected to paint a wrong picture. For example, The Hobbit was 48 FPS, and you say that people didn't like the soap opera effect. Wow, that's the other thing. They always address The Hobbit, even though The Hobbit is 11 years old, and no one sees it in 48 FPS anymore. Anyhow, continue on. I have yet to meet a real life person who said that. This argument, quote unquote, was only going around some filmmaking communities. Sure, there are some people who didn't like the content or that it made a trilogy, but I haven't heard not one real person mention soap opera effect. Because you can't watch Hobbit in 48, dude. It's some made up point argument, and barely anyone really was annoyed by. And I responded, you are the flat earther. Just like a flat earther, you can't look up the reality and see the truth. 24 FPS dominates every sphere of the media. It's special in that it was picked, and it's obviously different than 30 FPS. Instead, you bring up The Hobbit, which isn't available anywhere in 48 FPS and came out 11 years ago. Emphasis there. Lots of people bothered by the soap opera effect. Let me guess, you were 4 years old when it came out and don't know what went down. Seriously, stop denying reality. Discussion was over a long time ago. You have nothing to stand on. So yes, I do enjoy arguing. I enjoy it very much. But I hate my soul for arguing. I don't mind motion smoothing so much if it's just a soap opera that happened to be shot in 24 FPS as a failed attempt to make it cinematic. Don't get me started on smoothing. So what was I? Oh, so I watched a little bit of Avatar. I saw Avatar was available on HBO Max. So I wanted to see if they have a true cut motion version of it, and it's straight 24. Like how many times we have to do this, right? Like, how many times do we have to do this? Apparently every time. And that's how I'm going to make my career on YouTube. Every time a movie comes out with HFR, I've got to go see it, and I've got to go watch it twice because I got to figure out whether it's what it is about it. But it always boils down to 24 FPS, like every time. Like, oh, Avatar is going to change the way we make movies. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. You're going to be so sorry that you didn't fucking fall on this. Sorry for cursing. You're so sorry you didn't jump on the hype train when it comes to smooth cut motioning. And then smooth cut motion on like tried to friend me on Twitter. And I just told them off right out the bat. I'm like, it's interesting technology, but man, no, it's terrible. Anyhow. And now, I had one comment that says, hey, you know, everyone says that Gemini Man shot 120 FPS looks so dramatic, but it looks so cinematic when I watch it on streaming. It's like, it's only available in 24 FPS on streaming. Like Avatar 2 is only available in 24 FPS on streaming. All these movies are only available in 24. Oh my God. Anyhow, that's just me. If you resort to character attack in a debate, you lose. You'd think that no one follows that rule, though. Like, literally no one follows it. Not anymore. Do you think anybody cares on online debate? Do you think anybody gives a crap? It feels like, well, for one, online debate, no one's actually debating. There's not actual discussion. It's just character attack. Like literally 99% of all comments I get on my 24 FPS videos are just character attacks. They just are. But I follow the whole thing where it's like, if you attack me, I will attack back. That's just the way it is. Anyhow. Sir, what is the correct frame rate? What will be the correct frame rate so that all reaction come in video? That's not the right answer, the question to answer or ask. It's not that your frame rate captures all the reactions. It's that your frame rate creates a certain kind of expectation in the viewer. And if you're watching in 24 FPS, there's an expectation in the viewer that there's sort of a culture. I mean, I don't want to say it's all cultural understanding that 24 FPS is completely cultural. It's not completely cultural because obviously it looks different. Right? It's obviously different than 30. It's obviously different than 60. But the thing is that there's an expectation that comes with 24. There is a certain kind of a trance-like appreciation to 24. And that's what gives it the acting. The actor can be doing the same exact thing in 24 or 60. It will be perceived differently because of the ways the frame rate captures the acting. And it's been shown objectively. I mean, I don't know how objectively it is, but it's been shown that people respond better to acting in 24 than they do in 60. Just is. Is there a video standard for 48? That's the thing. There is no video standard for 48. The only people that can do 48 are streamers. And they don't stream these movies in 48. That's the weirdest thing. You think like, Amazon would stream Gemini Man in 60 FPS. It's available on Blu-ray at 60. But Hobbit, there's no Blu-ray format that hold. Blu-ray format's either 24, 25, 30, 60. That's it. Those are the only formats for as last I know. And 50. Sorry, I missed 50 too. I mean, they could speed the movie up by 2 frames a second, get 50, I guess, but that would be probably sacrilegious, So there's no way to watch The Hobbit in 48. It's amazing how little of the HFR stuff is out there. Like, what's interesting, I mean, just the example I always liked, I gave in class actually, was showed the students the Todd A.O. version of Oklahoma. Oklahoma's one of the few HFR movies out there because the Todd A.O. version was 30 frames a second, and it was shot shot for shot. It was made for Todd A.O. because they didn't trust Todd A.O. at the time. They shot Oklahoma and Todd A.O. and then they reset and they shot it in CinemaScope 24. And there's both versions are available, and it's fascinating to watch the difference. And I honestly think that the Todd A.O. version, the motion just looks like shit, but that's just me. It looks like video. I mean, it looks like clear video. It's clearly video. You can see it online if you look up Todd A.O. version of Oklahoma. Anyhow, speaking of smoothing, why do digital cameras have such a hard time with complicated moving gradients? Probably to do with the basically it's a bit depth issue. So like, if you're shooting 8-bit, you have 255 values of each color. So it's 24-bit color, right? And the gradients may not easily go from one to the other. So you need to be shooting a higher bit depth, like a 10-bit, to get really smooth gradients between colors. Otherwise, you can get banding issues. Although, for the most part, if you're not color grading 8-bit, it's going to be pretty decent. Anyhow. I like to watch the HFR films, but they did not go to my city, and I don't know how I can watch, just for curiosity, even from Gemini Man. I know Amazon Prime has Fury Road in black and white. Yeah, but Fury Road is still 24. The thing, the closest you're going to get is basically turn your motion interpolation on your TV, and that's kind of what it looks like. I mean, it's close. That's kind of what it looks like. I mean, I really like to see it. Yeah, that's kind of what it. Yeah, there you go. Gemini Man is available in 60 FPS on Blu-ray. Yeah, so you can see the 60 FPS version. 120 doesn't really add that much. Left Hand Puncher said, next month I'm going to shoot a scene with a local filmmaker. Cool. Check out Joe Sherlock, a.k.a. Skullface Astronaut. He makes ultra-low-budget, cheesy schlock horror movies. There you go. Very inspiring to see someone make a indie film. Joe has like 20 feature-length films, also boobs. LOL. That's how you make them that cheap. That's how you make money on them. Boobs. Be honest, it's really, really true. We used to have good forums. So, there was talking a little bit. I think it was Kurt Sigog that I watched. We talked about like how social media has kind of destroyed everything. Like back in the old days, when early internet days, when we had forums and chat forums and stuff like that, where you kind of got to know the regulars. You kind of got a community, right? I remember back in MySpace, we did the Filmmaker forums, and that's kind of how Filmmaker IQ started. We met through MySpace, and it became like a series of regulars that would come on and comment, and you would get to know the crowd. You would get to know the crowd of people that are, serious filmmakers, the serious sound guys, the serious editor. And you would see occasionally a lot of young people in there that were just completely clueless, and they would come back and they'd share their experience about how they developed, they failed. We had one guy named Travis that probably still haunts me and thumbs down my videos, I think. I don't know. But just he looked like Kevin Smith, and he was the epitome of the loser. Like there was something self-destructive about him, where we would all root for him to make his movie, or make whatever he was trying to do. Then we'd come back and literally self-sabotage himself. I don't know how he does it, but every time he just sabotage, it would just be come back and just complain, be the biggest disaster. Then apparently he got a job as an airline steward, and then he realized on his first flight that he hated flying. Just like every step, you're like, what? You're invested in this guy, but it became such a painful experience watching him fail every time, and it became the point where you started to like, first you start off with a soft love, like you support love, but after so much self-sabotage and failure, you turn to hard love, and hard love is like, well, you should just give up. Just give up. There's no reason for you to do this. Just give up. Right? And then that doesn't work. The hard love doesn't work. And then you become like, dude, just fix your fucking life. So anyhow, that was the story of Travis. But yeah, it was all this MySpace film, because you got to know each other. You got to know the handles. You got to see the pictures. Nowadays, it's such a sea of anonymity. And like Reddit's the closest thing. Like but it's hard to remember all these usernames, Reddit's sort of anonymous, but at least it's closest thing we have to a forum. Facebook groups are just dog shit. Like, oh my God. I have one person that talks to me a little bit. He's like, oh yeah, I went to Frugal Filmmaker Facebook group. I'm like, oh God, do not go to the Frugal Filmmaker Facebook group. Frugal Filmmaker is the person on the YouTube channel. I know I like him. He's a nice guy. But the Frugal Filmmaker Facebook group has long since moved beyond that original guy, and it's It's the Mos Eisley of fucking filmmaking. It's like the worst. The worst advice is on Frugal Filmmaker. Absolutely terrible. Like, do not go. It's absolutely horrible. Yeah, I don't remember moderators being mocked, despised, or trolled in the old forum format. Well, I do. Now there are many memes of Reddit and Discord moderators to stereotype. So yes, that's how Filmmaker IQ started. Was through a moderator being a complete power hungry dipshit on MySpace. They called him Grandma, and it was this. It was sort of a very underhead, like this icon was a grandmother with cookies, and he would just ban he or she or whatever it was. We at MySpace film forums, filmmaker forum, we longed for moderation because what was happening was there was so many bad posts, and it was just ridiculous. And we wanted a moderator to help clean up some stuff, just clean it up, you know. And one of the things my friend Dennis did in MySpace film forums was he would go through and he would post a lot of really useful articles. And he would basically bump them to the top by putting a little rose on, just bump them above all the crap that was happening in the film forums and make the forum actually something worth reading. Well, we begged and begged for a moderator because we get spammed, you know, we get like 1,000, you know, we'd have to bump up all the old useful discussions. And so what happened was, and MySpace finally broke down and gave us a moderator, this grandma with her cookies. And one of the things she did was she just banned my friend Dennis because he would bump the articles, and that was considered a bad behavior. It's like, wait, no. Dennis was a long-standing member of the MySpace film community. Like, he was doing what we wanted you guys to do, but you banned him. And that caused and inflamed a bunch of shit, and I got pissed off, and I got banned. Eventually, it's like I said, I'm not gonna stop talking about this. You're gonna have to ban me. So I got banned from the MySpace filmmaker forum, and that's when we started Filmmaker IQ. That's what Filmmaker IQ came from. The moderators can be also just bad. An old forum format, the hated moderator was kicked out. Now it felt like they were controlled by the norm. Yeah. Anytime you moderate something, you've got power. It's a power dynamic. YouTube is the only place that HFR content is freely available. Perhaps. There you go. I know, Netflix has one, but they're not free. Amazon has those alternate versions, like the new cut of Godfather 3, so maybe they could do HFR versions. Oh, HFR, not HDR. That's why I got confused. Amazon. There's no reason why Amazon couldn't have HFR. It's literally in the Amazon like upload criteria. HFR is in there. Like, they can upload a 60 hertz, and of course you do with like television shows, right? I'm talking about live television, sports, stuff like that. It's HFR. So there's no reason why Amazon couldn't have HFR in their catalog. So too with Netflix, because if you remember watching that video on HFR Miss, I talk about certain Netflix. There's a Netflix experimental films where they're testing out the compression algorithms and stuff like that. And one of them you can watch online is the Netflix experimental film. It's in 60 FPS. It's like a film noir kind of a thing, and it looks like an HFR movie. That's what you can, I forget the name of it, but there's that. YouTube's got plenty of HFR stuff. You can watch that and just get a sense of what they all look like. So yeah, there's that. All right. Well, no more comments there. Have I been on for an hour? No, I've been out for an hour and a half. Let's go for a little bit longer, and I gotta go home and eat my tikka masala. All right. Let's see. Let me get that comment go through here in a second. I don't know much of MySpace forums. Never used it. Miss GeoCities and WordPress sites, though. Some of the film blogs, marked book long ago. Now they disappeared private or become domain of the Sith. Else, where's the rest of that comment? Or of something else. I gotcha. Yeah, MySpace was. I got a MySpace account just to make fun of MySpace, and I ended up liking it. It was one of the early social medias. But Yeah, MySpace was how I met the jazz singer girl that I was chasing for a while, and then it destroyed the friendship I had. that, so MySpace has has a rocky history with me a little bit. And then Tom sold out to Fox. That was a waste of money. It's a complete waste of money on Murdoch's part. I think complete MySpace just became a shell of what it was. I hope Tom Anderson's doing well for himself and took that money and saved it up, and invested it, and now hopefully enjoying a brilliant life, whatever he's doing. So yeah, that's that. What else do we see? Yeah, MySpace is how I learned HTML and CSS. A lot of people did learn HTML from MySpace. Both sides, just check. YouTube does have 8K 120 FPS to view if your machine can handle it. Or just watch it in 240p. That's what they do. This looks great. This looks so good in 8K, and you're like watching it on his phone in like 360p. Yeah, I mean YouTube, like I said, streaming is, you can do anything you want on streaming. What's the name of the video? Oh, just go to YouTube. Let's see. Let's just try it. Go to YouTube and just look up 120 FPS. Because anything that has 120 FPS, and it is 120 FPS, will literally probably be yelling at you that this is 120 FPS. Wow. So this is I got the sharpest detail, 12K HDR Dolby Vision, 120 FPS. And let's take a look at it. Just play it and see. It's like an hour and 56 minutes long. I love how the fact that it's 120 FPS and it's just a static shot of a sunrise. It's like, really? All right, here's the real test, though. Right click, stats for nerds, and it's playing back at 720p, 60 FPS. Let's see if we can switch this over to 2160p, 60K, 4K, and if I put play on that, right click on it, and it goes 3840 by 2160 at 60 frames a second. So it's not legitimately 120 FPS. And I go through the comments, and let's see, watching is 60, or am I just not allowed to watch it in higher resolution? The highest I can get is 2160 by 60. Yeah, so I don't know. I just love it when people advertise this shit and they don't even know what they're talking about. Let's see, Dolby Vision demo. I bet you that will probably be stats for nerds. 3840 by 2160, and it's 60 FPS. And can I go in the higher quality? Nope, that's it. So maybe whatever I'm watching, I can only watch it in 60 FPS. Go figure. Let's see, I can show you what that looks like. If I go like that, and I fade to that, and I'm looking at this guy, turning the sound all the way off so I don't get demonetized. I love how like 60 FPS stuff is like always showing you very slow moving objects. Because, yeah. But this is the 4K, 120 FPS, although when we right click on it, stats for nerds, yeah, it's 60 FPS. So that's like shaking. I don't know. Well, maybe the computer is not handling that perfectly. That's a little bit juddery for 60 FPS. I don't know. These, probably a bunch of hogwash. Back to me. Who knows? That's what frame rate's so annoying. It's so annoying. I think the woke eras have passed or are about to. What do you think about the anti-woke critics that could pivot their career to? Yeah, I think so. Well, it depends. How long are they going to drag out the woke stuff in the movies? And it's still got legs. I think we're past the peak, though. So it'll probably be another 2 or 3 years before it's completely over. it just takes a while. I hope some of them, well, you never know what's going to happen when people pivot or not. Your iPad and phone won't support it. My laptop does. My computer won't support it. I can't even pull it up on this computer. I wonder if I can find one that's actually legitimately 120 FPS. And it's got. You think Dolby Vision demo would definitely would be capable of that, but I'm not seeing the 120 FPS unless I need to set up a certain a certain quality or something like that. I don't know. The best I see is 60, or maybe they just killed all the 120 FPS. 8K Earth. Let's try that. This is real HDR. Stats for nerds. That's 60, and I can't seem to go above 60. Maybe I need to set my thing on a certain thing. Anyhow. It's one of those Dolby Vision demos. But yeah, I can't pull the Dolby Vision up to anything higher than 4K 60. And I'm using my computer here. And yeah, I'm not seeing any other options than 4K, right click, stats for nerds. This one's 25. I don't know. It's just so frustrating. People don't understand frame rate, and they just get all these details wrong. Just all of them wrong. Dang it. Gell-Man amnesia effect. It's all wrong. Everything's wrong. Yeah, the Dolby Vision demo, and I can't get it above freaking 60. Oh, well. Whatever. I'm doing something wrong. Is anything over, or is it just add up? Yep, that's true. Some people... Yeah, on that stats for nerds, it does say 60, not 120. Yeah, I know. That's maybe YouTube just gave up and we're not going to offer 120 anymore. Maybe one time it did, and then YouTube's like, hey, too much data rate, no point. No one's going to use this thing. Back to 60 it is. I mean, it's not like you could tell the difference between 60 and 120 when it's just a slow-moving object. It's like, not that much difference. Even 60, the difference between 60 and 120, you really need it move pretty quickly, and then you could probably tell the difference between a stroboscopic effect, right? It needs to be moving fairly fast and fairly fast with the long distances, right, in order to tell. Because if it's just a flower blooming, no. 60 and 120 look exactly the same at that speed. If a slowly moving fish or something, slowly moving boat or something like that. Anyhow, all right. Well, anything else you guys want to talk about before I head out here and have a Merry Christmas? Yep. 120 equals 5 times 24. There it is. What do you mean? Oh, is that what you're talking about? Is there anything over or it adds up? 120 equals 5 times 24? Yeah. Sure. Also, 120 is nice because it's 60 times 2. So you can pull 60 out of 120. You can pull 24. You can pull 30 out of 120 by dividing it by 4, right? So you can pull a lot of different frame rates out of it. Future predictions for good movies next year? Oh, that's a good one. Dune 2. That's probably gonna be good. I have no idea what is even coming out next year. It's the movies that you don't anticipate that end up being the best ones of the year, right? I would have never thought Godzilla -1 was going to be so good, but everything's going to be. It's the movies you don't expect. I didn't expect Fury Road to come. Oh, that Furiosa. I mean, I don't think that'd be great, but I think it'll be fun. I'll go see that. Yeah. 120 is super easy. How do I feel about the term Golden Age in films? I use the term Golden Age to refer to Japanese animation. This could be Golden Age of amateur videos and streams. I felt like it's hype. I use it. I talk about golden age of Hollywood as sort of a marker for more of how the golden age production was made. Like people talk about golden age of Hollywood is to refer to the studio system and how like the studio system was a special factory that existed between 1930s, late 1920s and 1945. As sort of a marker for a way of producing movies. They're called the golden age, in that like a lot of the great movies were being made in a factory manner. But I also use it as a kind of derisively to say that, well, 75% of the movies that are made in the golden age of Hollywood are B movies that were not really good at all, right? That were not ever intended to be good. They're just intended to fill time in a double screening. So yeah, golden age. I don't really say it's sort of more of a way to make the writing a little more interesting. Oh yeah, the golden age of YouTube, where we actually got paid. I used to make like $800 a month on YouTube. Now I'm not making anywhere near that. Like the last video that got 60,000 views and I was looking at it because I told a friend about that. It's like $60,000 views equates to about a little less than $200. That's how much golden age is. I recently picked up a vintage Ingenue 1935 135 millimeter f 3.5 for exact amount for $60. Jeez, that's pretty cool. Have you ever used an Ingenue? No, I've never used an Ingenue lens before. Those look pretty impressive. And for $60, man, oh man, that is a steal. That is an awesome deal. I don't know what an exact amount is though. So good luck trying to adapt that to a modern setting. But hey, you got some work cut out for you. I've got these big giant projector lenses that I want to try to figure out how to sell too. So if you got some ideas. A while ago, they referred to the golden age of TV that felt like an American one, where they just kept ripping off The Sopranos. Well, there was a golden era. There was an era where the television was really, really, really good. Like, really good. Sopranos started it, but there was a lot of great shows. Like, they have not quite reached the caliber. Shows kind of pale, I think, to like what Sopranos, Dexter. I never watched Sopranos, but Dexter I watched religiously. The Office started in that time. There's a whole era where television was just really, really good. Now it just seems like streaming it's more ho hum. It's not so great. Yeah, vintage Ingenue lenses are top cinema end lenses. Yeah, that they really are. The other thing I don't like about the Ingenue anamorphics are they don't get you that oval bokeh. Yeah, the greatest TV show is The Simpsons, and then before that, yeah, I don't know. The Simpsons has its own seasons of good and bad, right? Yeah, the Optimo, the Ingenue Optimo 24 to 90 is a 64,000 buy price. There you go. It can only be beaten by the Canon Ultra, like the highest end Canon prime lens, or not prime, zoom lens, is in the neighborhood of like $120,000. Like that's seriously high end. That's not a buy lens. That's definitely a rent lens. And even then, I could buy several lenses for the price it cost to rent that lens. One of the videos I definitely feel like I want to do is an exploration into polarizers. I answered a question on Reddit actually today about the difference between circular and linear polarizers. I dug into a little bit of it, and I thought, this would make a good video. As I say this now, it'll probably come out like 6 months from now because that's how long it takes me to research this crap. But yeah, so I think a polarizer video might be a good video about. Good topic to do a video about. Exacta is an old SLR mount, and luckily they have adapters for them. There you go. Cool. But you still got to do your homework, figure out what you need to adapt that. Sir, do higher frame rate cameras, for example, 2000 FPS are used in science studies? Yes. Well, you do that so you can slow it down to really study what's going on. Hi, 0 in 0, 0 in 1 in 0. How you doing? The new Hollywood in the 70s is often hailed as the greatest decade of American cinema, but regarding American animation, it's the bottom of the barrel. Just goes to show you, right? The 70s sucked for animation. But for new experimental cinema, it was really, really good. Go through the Tiffin filter range and the looks they offer. That would be fun if Tiffin actually. I don't want to spend the money to buy all the Tiffin filters or even to rent them. That's pretty expensive. But the filters would be kind of cool. I had this. For a brief period of time, there was an Instagram kind of a meme where they would take a lens and they would just like break the lens, and then shoot with that, and it create all kinds of effects, right? And I thought that'd be a cool video, but instead of actually breaking a lens, what if you just got a matte box and 4x4 clear glass, and then you could do stuff to the glass? Like maybe I could take some watercolor and paint some watercolors, making my own gradient lenses. I thought that might be a fun thing to try out. I never ever got around to doing it. Yeah, I got a Pro Mist Black. I've been starting. The lenses is something I've been trying to like the effects are something I kind of wanted to get back into and play with. I've had a Pro Mist since I started 20 years ago. I still have the same 4x4 Pro Mist. I want to say it's a half though. I want to go back to kind of shooting some of that, but for what I do, it doesn't make sense because you want clarity for what I do. But if I'm shooting something else, a Pro Mist might be kind of fun to play with. Just to add a little bit of that haze to the shot, it's just something. Yeah. We've had the golden and silver age of comics. It's more like inaccurate to say that there are more energy in these periods, but they haven't been replicated since. Yeah, it's true. A DIY filter with a tile cutter would work well. There you go, streak filter. Yeah, I just think it'd be kind of fun to mess around with a 4x4, just straight glass. So a tile cutter, you say? Oh, just to scrape it up a little bit, maybe? Yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool. Like, there's so much you can do with just the relatively inexpensive pieces of glass, rather than actually breaking your lens. But that Instagram meme kind of came and went away. Which do you prefer, variable ND filters or fixed ND filters? So, I haven't had to use ND filters because I have been using the Canon Cinema line lenses or cameras, and the Canon Cinema cameras have built-in internal ND filters. And my God, I love that. I like the Canon C200 is what I'm shooting with now. Canon C70 internal filter. The Canon XC15 that I have has an internal filter. Even the Sony ZV-1 has an internal filter, ND filter, and I love that. I just love that. I bought that FX30, which I haven't really shot much with, but it does not have an internal ND filter, and oh my God, that's so annoying. So yeah, I bought myself a external variable ND filter, and yeah, I would rather just use that for now. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do for internal filter for ND filters is the variable, just easier, more convenient. But laminated glass it would stay together. Okay. Oh yeah, that's the no, it's not called laminated glass, is it? It's called tempered glass. Tempered glass. If you could just crack the edge of it and it just breaks up. A contest about the most strange sound effect that matches with the breaking of a lens. Ooh. Ah. Sir, why 24 FPS is used? As we know, 2060 FPS has more information. I've got a playlist of videos you can watch on that topic. First, watch the defense of 24 FPS video. That will get you halfway there. Then you watch an HFR miss on top of that. Depending on the setting, if you run and gun, variable all the way. But if you have the time to prepare your shots, fix ND for matte box use. Yep, I would agree with that. I have not utilized my matte box in years though, because I've literally did mostly run and gun. But like, I've got 2 matte boxes and they've just been sitting in the boxes and gathering dust. I should get them out and play with them. Yeah. Rohit should watch the slow-mo guys. There you go. What's my favorite, least favorite horror movie monster? Not ghost or serial killer. Favorite horror movie monster? Ooh, gosh. Oh, I don't know. Horror movie monster. Not a ghost or serial killer. Well, the thing is a good one. That's a good one to pick. My Trolls 2. There you go. I kind of like the Trolls girl, the girl from Trolls. Trolls 2, Trolls 2. The girl that I have a thing for women actors who act. I like actresses who put on an act rather than just be pretty and look stunning. You know, I like people that are willing to go crazy and do a serious act. So that's why I like the girl from Trolls 2. She really put on a show. All right, and that's what I'm thinking. Trolls 2 and The Thing. There, Thing from Outer Space. Somehow when I think of Halloween, I think of watching comedy. When I think of Christmas, I think of watching horror. Oh, there you go. There's nothing wrong with that. How do you treat your filming tools? Not well. Do you have them stored well? No. Or you use them in opportunity and have them all. Use them in any opportunity and have them all around. Yeah, that's pretty much me. I'm not even that good with like lens caps. Like I'm not. I should be more disciplined with lens caps. I'm not. Well, in fact, I'm paying for it. I'm paying literally $1,300 to get my lens fixed because the little adapter for the wired for my cine lens broke off because I didn't store it very well. So it broke and it's costing me $1,300 to fix it. I love it. Canon factory repair says the cost is $1,300 to fix this lens. I mean, the lens is worth like $4,000, $3 or $4,000, so it's worth it. But the actual cost of parts is $80, and the rest is freaking labor. It's just it's $80 plus some other $10 here, that tax, and then $1,100 of labor. $1,100 freaking labor. Oh well, but you know what? I gotta have it. It's my best lens. It's the best lens that I own. It's a Canon 18-80 T4.4 cine lens with a zoom, servo zoom. I just love that lens, and it looks great to me. It's beautiful. It's clean. It's just gorgeous. So yeah, I had to give it a little more TLC than I've been doing. I've been very bad with it. Thank you, Rohit, for saying I'm a living legend for giving true information. I appreciate that. I try to, but I don't always succeed. So with that, I'm getting cold. It is starting to get very cold in this office. And I want to go home and have some chicken tikka masala because I'm hungry. And that's about it. So, hey, thank you guys for hanging out with me on this Christmas Eve. I will be back. I'll be back for a New Year's Eve stream. If not New Year's Eve, we'll see how it goes next week. Yeah, sounds about right. I've stripped out about 10 of those 70 to 200 millimeters. Yeah, I know. You gotta, when you play the big boys, you gotta spend the big bucks, right? So yes, Merry Christmas to all. Merry Christmas to all. I'd read a night before Christmas, but I don't have the ambition to figure it out. I was gonna do a Christmas version of, so Santa arrives on the roof and he said, on Airy, on Sony, on Canon and Panasonic, on Red, on what's another, Fuji, on Inkagami, and and Black Magic. gonna have the Christmas version of Filmmaker version of Night Before Christmas, but I don't have the energy to make that. So with that, Merry Christmas to all. It was the night before Christmas and I was on streams. On Potato. There you go. Very good. All right, guys. Take care. Have a Merry Christmas. Enjoy your time with family and friends and all that. And I'll see you next week here at FilmmakerIQ.com. All right. Fade to black. And we'll see you later. Bye.